everyone dies. The Yellowstone Supervolcano would kill almost all of us. That's a supervolcano that is a continent killer. The whole fucking country dies. And it happens every 600,000 to 800,000 years. The last time it happened was like 600,000.
The tranquility of Yellowstone National Park was shattered as officials initiated an emergency evacuation of the entire zone. The cause of this unprecedented move was an impending volcanic eruption, a scenario long feared but seemingly far-fetched, until now. This natural event, poised to redefine the geological and environmental landscape of the region, demanded immediate and decisive action. Before we start, please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more updates. As the initial tremors began to ripple through the park, geologists and volcanologists stationed at Yellowstone's monitoring stations sprang into action. Seismic activity had been gradually increasing over the past weeks, with frequent minor earthquakes indicating that magma was on the move beneath the surface. The signs were unmistakable: ground deformation, an uptick in geyser activity, and unusual gas emissions. These indicators pointed towards the awakening of the Yellowstone caldera, a supervolcano with the potential to unleash catastrophic devastation. The decision to clear the entire zone was not made lightly. Yellowstone National Park spans nearly 3,500 square miles, encompassing vast forests, meadows, lakes, and an array of wildlife. It is also home to geothermal features unparalleled anywhere else on Earth, including the iconic Old Faithful geyser. The implications of a volcanic eruption in this area were dire, not just for the immediate vicinity, but for the entire planet. The potential for massive ash clouds to block sunlight, disrupt climate patterns, and cause widespread agricultural failures loomed large. As word of the impending eruption spread, the park's visitors and staff were swiftly evacuated. Roads leading out of Yellowstone became congested as cars, buses, and RVs hurriedly made their way to safety. Emergency personnel guided the evacuation with practiced efficiency, their years of drills and preparations now put to the ultimate test. Helicopters buzzed overhead, scanning for any signs of people left behind, while rangers patrolled the park to ensure that all humans and animals were out of harm's way. The evacuation effort was monumental. More than 4 million people visit Yellowstone each year, and while not all were present at the time, the number of individuals requiring relocation was substantial. Local communities, hotels, and shelters opened their doors to provide refuge for those displaced by the evacuation. For many, the sight of the park's majestic landscapes disappearing in the rearview mirror was a poignant reminder of the power and unpredictability of nature. Behind the scenes, scientists worked frantically to model the potential eruption scenarios. Using data from seismographs, satellite imagery, and ground sensors, they attempted to predict the size and scope of the eruption. Would it be a relatively small event, akin to the 1980 eruption of Mount St. Helens, or something far more catastrophic? The uncertainty weighed heavily on the minds of those tasked with preparing for the worst. As the hours ticked by, the tension mounted. Volcanic activity continued to escalate, with steam vents spewing hot gases and geysers erupting with increased frequency and intensity. The ground swelled ominously, indicating that magma was pooling just below the surface. The air was thick with the smell of sulfur, a constant reminder of the imminent danger. For the wildlife of Yellowstone, the situation was equally perilous. Animals, often sensitive to environmental changes, had begun to exhibit unusual behavior days before the evacuation order. Herds of bison and elk were seen moving away from the caldera, while birds altered their migration patterns. Rangers and wildlife experts worked tirelessly to guide animals to safer areas, though the sheer scale of the task meant that not all could be saved. The potential loss of biodiversity was a heartbreaking consequence of the impending eruption. The economic implications of the eruption were also staggering. Yellowstone is a major tourist destination, contributing billions of dollars to the local and national economy each year. The closure of the park, combined with the potential destruction of infrastructure and natural resources, threatened to cripple the regional economy. Businesses reliant on tourism faced an uncertain future, and the cost of rebuilding and recovery would undoubtedly be immense. In the broader context, the eruption of the Yellowstone Supervolcano had the potential to affect the global climate. Volcanic eruptions release massive amounts of ash and gases into the atmosphere, which can lead to a phenomenon known as volcanic winter. This occurs when ash clouds block sunlight, causing temperatures to drop and disrupting weather patterns worldwide. The consequences of such a scenario would be far-reaching, impacting agriculture, water supplies, and human health on a global scale. As night fell, the park stood eerily silent, devoid of the usual sounds of wildlife and human activity. The occasional rumble of the earth and the hiss of steam vents were the only indications of the tumultuous forces at work beneath the surface. Scientists and officials remained on high alert, monitoring the situation around the clock. Communication lines were kept open with government agencies, emergency services, and international monitoring organizations, all of whom were prepared to respond in the event of an eruption. For the residents of the surrounding areas, the wait was excruciating. Many had family and friends among the evacuees, and the uncertainty of the situation was a heavy burden. Communities banded together, offering support and solace to those in need. Social media became a lifeline, allowing people to share information, offer assistance, and provide comfort. Despite the anxiety and fear, there was a palpable sense of solidarity and resilience. Meanwhile, the scientific community watched with bated breath. The Yellowstone Supervolcano has erupted 3 times in the past 2.1 million years, with each event dramatically altering the landscape. The last major eruption, approximately 640,000 years ago, created the Yellowstone caldera, a 30 by 45 mile depression in the Earth. Understanding the mechanics of such an eruption is crucial for predicting future events and mitigating their impact. The data collected during this period of heightened activity would prove invaluable for future research and preparedness efforts. As dawn broke over Yellowstone, the park remained in a state of heightened alert. The geological signs continued to point towards an imminent eruption, though the exact timing remained uncertain. Officials issued regular updates, urging people to stay clear of the area and adhere to safety protocols. The evacuation zones were expanded to include additional buffer areas, ensuring that no one was within reach of potential lava flows or pyroclastic surges. In this tense atmosphere, every tremor, every plume of steam, and every rumble of the ground took on heightened significance. The world watched as Yellowstone, one of Earth's most iconic and volatile geological features, stood on the brink of a monumental event. The potential eruption of the supervolcano served as a stark reminder of the planet's raw and untamed power, a force capable of reshaping the world in an instant. While the future remained uncertain, the resolve of those involved in the evacuation and monitoring efforts was unwavering. The lessons learned from this event would undoubtedly inform future preparedness and response strategies, not just for Yellowstone, but for volcanic regions around the world. The balance between human habitation and natural forces is a delicate one, and the situation at Yellowstone highlighted the need for ongoing vigilance, research, and cooperation. As the days turned into weeks, the tension surrounding Yellowstone's imminent eruption only intensified. The situation remained precarious, with geological activity persisting at an alarming rate. Officials and scientists maintained their vigilant watch, aware that the window for a potential eruption could open at any moment. The world outside Yellowstone's boundaries anxiously followed updates, with news outlets and social media platforms providing real-time coverage of the unfolding drama. The scientific community was abuzz with discussions and debates about the nature of the eruption. While the Yellowstone supervolcano had a history of catastrophic events, predicting the exact behavior of such a complex geological system was an enormous challenge. Researchers analyzed every available piece of data, from seismic readings to ground deformation measurements, in an effort to refine their models and projections. The cooperation between various geological and meteorological institutions was unprecedented, highlighting the global significance of the potential eruption. In classrooms and lecture halls around the world, the situation at Yellowstone became a case study in natural disaster preparedness and response. Professors and students delved into the intricacies of volcanic activity, using real-time data from the park to enhance their understanding of these powerful natural phenomena. The impending eruption of the Yellowstone supervolcano was not just a geological event, it was a profound learning opportunity, underscoring the importance of scientific inquiry and the need for continued research into Earth's dynamic processes. Despite the dire circumstances, there were moments of hope and resilience. Communities around Yellowstone demonstrated remarkable solidarity, coming together to support evacuees and prepare for potential fallout. Local businesses, while facing uncertain futures, offered resources and aid to those displaced by the evacuation. Shelters were set up to accommodate the influx of people, and volunteers worked tirelessly to ensure that everyone had access to food, water, and medical care. The spirit of cooperation and compassion was a testament to the strength of human resolve in the face of adversity. For the indigenous tribes with ancestral ties to the Yellowstone region, the situation carried deep cultural and spiritual significance. The land, with its geysers, hot springs, and diverse ecosystems, was not just a national park. It was a sacred space, integral to their heritage and identity. Tribal leaders participated in discussions with officials, advocating for the protection of culturally significant sites and ensuring that their voices were heard in the decision-making process. The potential loss of these lands was a profound sorrow, adding an emotional dimension to the already complex crisis. As scientists continued their work, they faced the daunting task of communicating their findings to the public. The language of geology and volcanology is inherently technical, and translating this information into terms that could be easily understood by a non-specialist audience was challenging. Clear, accurate communication was essential to avoid panic and misinformation. Press conferences, detailed reports, and educational outreach efforts were all part of the strategy to keep the public informed and prepared. In the media, the story of Yellowstone's potential eruption captivated audiences worldwide. Documentaries and special reports delved into the history of the supervolcano, exploring past eruptions and their impacts on the planet. Experts provided context and analysis, explaining the science behind volcanic activity and the measures being taken to monitor and mitigate the current threat. The narrative of Yellowstone's awakening was both terrifying and fascinating, a reminder of nature's formidable power and the delicate balance of life on Earth. As the evacuation extended, the psychological toll on evacuees became increasingly apparent. The uncertainty, displacement, and constant worry weighed heavily on those forced to leave their homes and livelihoods behind. Mental health professionals were brought in to provide support, offering counseling and resources to help people cope with the stress and anxiety. Community events and activities were organized to provide a semblance of normalcy and distraction from the looming threat. The resilience of the human spirit was evident in these efforts, as people found ways to support one another through the crisis. In Yellowstone itself, the absence of human presence allowed nature to reclaim the landscape, if only temporarily. Wildlife that had fled the increased geothermal activity began to return, cautiously navigating the altered terrain. The park's geothermal features, such as geysers and hot springs, continued their dramatic displays, albeit with heightened intensity. The natural beauty of Yellowstone, juxtaposed with the potential for destruction, was a poignant reminder of the duality of nature's forces. As weeks turned into months, the question on everyone's mind remained: when would the eruption occur? The uncertainty was maddening, with no clear answers despite the best efforts of the scientific community. The tension was palpable, a constant undercurrent in daily life for those affected. Emergency preparedness drills became routine, ensuring that everyone knew the steps to take in the event of an eruption. The goal was to be ready for any eventuality, minimizing the risk to human life as much as possible. Internationally, the situation at Yellowstone sparked discussions about global volcanic threats and the need for robust monitoring and preparedness strategies. Countries with active volcanoes examined their own systems, learning from the events at Yellowstone to enhance their readiness for potential eruptions. The cooperation and information sharing between nations underscored the global nature of volcanic hazards and the importance of collective action in addressing these threats. For businesses and industries dependent on the Yellowstone region, the prolonged evacuation and potential eruption posed significant challenges. The tourism sector in particular faced devastating losses as visitors were unable to access the park. Efforts were made to redirect tourism to other nearby attractions, but the unique allure of Yellowstone was irreplaceable. The economic ripple effects extended beyond tourism, affecting local agriculture, transportation, and retail. The full impact of the eruption, should it occur, would only be understood in the years to come. As the situation continued to unfold, it became clear that the events at Yellowstone were not just a regional crisis, but a global one. The potential eruption of a supervolcano carried implications for climate, agriculture, and human health worldwide. The ash clouds and gases released into the atmosphere could lead to cooling temperatures, affecting crop yields and food security. The disruption of air travel and the spread of ash across continents would have far-reaching consequences, highlighting the interconnectedness of our world. In this time of uncertainty, the importance of scientific research and investment in monitoring technologies became increasingly evident. The ability to predict and respond to natural disasters is crucial for mitigating their impact and protecting human life. The events at Yellowstone underscored the need for continued funding and support for geological research, ensuring that we are better prepared for future volcanic threats. As time marched on, the vigilance around Yellowstone's awakening continued unabated. Officials, scientists, and residents alike had adjusted to a new normal, a life on edge, perpetually prepared for a potential catastrophe. The world watched with bated breath, mesmerized by the unfolding geological drama. Each day brought new data, new insights, and renewed efforts to understand and anticipate the supervolcano's next move. The human response to the Yellowstone crisis became a study in resilience and ingenuity. Emergency operations centers were established in nearby towns, transforming schools, community centers, and sports complexes into hubs of coordination and support. Volunteers from across the country and even international disaster response teams joined the efforts, bringing expertise and manpower. The logistics of such a massive evacuation were staggering, but the collaborative spirit was strong, fueled by a shared determination to safeguard lives and livelihoods. One of the most significant challenges faced by officials was maintaining public morale. The psychological strain of living under the constant threat of an eruption was immense. Community leaders organized workshops, mental health sessions, and recreational activities to provide relief and distraction. Local artists and musicians performed in impromptu concerts, and children's events were held to keep the youngest evacuees engaged and reassured. These efforts, though seemingly small, played a crucial role in bolstering the spirits of those displaced by the crisis. Meanwhile, in the academic and scientific communities, Yellowstone became the focal point of intense study and debate. Universities and research institutions worldwide dedicated resources to understanding the complex dynamics of the supervolcano. Collaborative research projects blossomed, bringing together geologists, volcanologists, climatologists, and other experts in a concerted effort to decode Yellowstone's signals. Advanced computer models were developed, simulating various eruption scenarios and their potential impacts. These models helped refine evacuation plans and informed global preparedness strategies, making a significant contribution to our collective knowledge about supervolcanic activity. As the monitoring efforts continued, new technological advancements played a pivotal role. Drones equipped with sensors flew over the park, capturing real-time data on ground deformation, gas emissions, and thermal anomalies. Satellite imagery provided a macro view of the region, revealing changes invisible to the naked eye. These technologies allowed scientists to gather critical information from a safe distance, minimizing risk while maximizing data accuracy. The integration of artificial intelligence and data analysis also provided deeper insights, identifying patterns and anomalies that might have been missed by human observation alone. In the midst of these scientific endeavors, the narrative of Yellowstone also touched on profound philosophical and existential questions. The possibility of a supervolcanic eruption posed a stark reminder of human vulnerability in the face of nature's raw power. It sparked discussions about humanity's place on Earth, our ability to predict and mitigate natural disasters, and the ethical responsibilities of scientists and policymakers. The crisis at Yellowstone highlighted the delicate interplay between human activity and the natural world, emphasizing the need for sustainable practices and respect for the planet's geological processes. In parallel with these scientific and philosophical explorations, the practical aspects of disaster preparedness and response were continually tested and refined. Emergency drills became routine, ensuring that every resident and visitor knew the steps to take in the event of an eruption. Schools conducted regular evacuation exercises, teaching children how to stay safe and calm. Local businesses developed contingency plans to minimize economic disruption, and healthcare facilities prepared for potential influxes of patients affected by ash inhalation and other eruption-related health issues. The collaboration extended beyond human efforts. Yellowstone's wildlife, guided by their natural instincts, became a subject of study for biologists and ecologists. The movements and behaviors of animals provided additional clues about the volcanic activity. Herds of bison, elk, and deer were tracked, and their patterns of migration offered insights into the subtle changes occurring in the park's ecosystem. These observations were integrated into the broader monitoring efforts, adding another layer of understanding to the complex dynamics at play. Amidst the tension and uncertainty, moments of profound beauty and hope emerged. The park, temporarily devoid of human interference, flourished in unexpected ways. Plant life, untrampled and unbothered, began to reclaim areas around the geothermal features. Rare and endangered species, normally elusive due to human presence, were spotted more frequently. These glimpses of nature's resilience provided a poignant counterpoint to the looming threat, reminding everyone of the enduring strength and adaptability of the natural world. The global community continued to engage with the Yellowstone crisis in various ways. Governments and international organizations offered assistance, sharing expertise and resources. The crisis served as a catalyst for broader discussions on global volcanic threats and the importance of international cooperation in disaster preparedness. Conferences and symposiums were organized, bringing together experts from diverse fields to share knowledge and strategies. The situation at Yellowstone underscored the interconnectedness of our world and the necessity of a unified approach to addressing natural disasters. Media coverage of the crisis remained extensive, with journalists and documentary filmmakers capturing the unfolding events from multiple perspectives. Stories of heroism and resilience were highlighted, offering a human dimension to the scientific and logistical challenges. The coverage also served an educational purpose, informing the public about the science of volcanology and the importance of preparedness. By keeping the world informed and engaged, the media played a crucial role in fostering a sense of global solidarity and awareness. As the months passed, the initial frenzy of activity gave way to a more sustained, vigilant state of readiness. The immediate urgency had tempered slightly, but the underlying threat remained ever present. The scientific community continued its relentless pursuit of understanding, while officials and residents maintained their preparedness. The world watched and waited, acutely aware that the situation could change at any moment. The longer the crisis persisted, the more it became a part of the collective consciousness. Yellowstone's potential eruption was no longer just a scientific curiosity or a regional concern. It was a global phenomenon, a reminder of the fragility and unpredictability of life on Earth. The lessons learned from this period of heightened vigilance would resonate far into the future, informing not only how we prepare for and respond to volcanic threats, but also how we coexist with the powerful natural forces that shape our world. In this prolonged period of uncertainty, the importance of resilience and adaptability became ever more apparent. Communities continued to innovate, finding new ways to support each other and stay prepared. Schools incorporated volcanic science into their curricula, educating the next generation about the geological processes that shape our planet. Local governments reviewed and updated their disaster response plans, ensuring they were as robust and comprehensive as possible. The scientific efforts at Yellowstone also spurred advancements in other fields. The technology developed for monitoring the supervolcano had applications beyond geology, contributing to innovations in environmental science, climate research, and even space exploration. The collaborative spirit that defined the response to Yellowstone's threat fostered a broader culture of scientific inquiry and interdisciplinary cooperation. The crisis became a catalyst for progress, driving home the importance of research and innovation in addressing the challenges of the future. As the seasons changed, the landscape of Yellowstone transformed. Winter brought a serene blanket of snow, covering the park's geothermal features in a layer of pristine white. The contrast between the peaceful surface and the turbulent activity beneath was striking, a visual metaphor for the ongoing tension. Spring thawed the park, revealing the vibrant life that had endured through the winter months. Each season brought its own challenges and beauty, highlighting the dynamic nature of Yellowstone's ecosystem. For the evacuees, life continued in a state of suspended normalcy. Many had found temporary homes and jobs, integrating into new communities while keeping a wary eye on the news. The support networks established early in the crisis remained active, providing ongoing assistance and resources. The shared experience of displacement and uncertainty forged strong bonds among those affected, creating a sense of community and mutual support that transcended the crisis. For some, The prolonged evacuation became an opportunity for reflection and personal growth. The enforced break from daily routines allowed people to reassess their lives, priorities, and connections to the natural world. Many found solace in nature, even if they couldn't return to Yellowstone, discovering new hiking trails, parks, and natural spaces to explore. The crisis, despite its challenges, offered a chance for renewal and reevaluation, a reminder of the importance of living in harmony with the Earth. As time went on, the ongoing vigilance around Yellowstone began to weave itself into the fabric of daily life for the affected communities. The specter of a potential eruption loomed large, but the initial shock and panic had given way to a more measured, if uneasy, routine. For those living in the shadow of the supervolcano, this new normal required constant adjustment and adaptation. Emergency management teams had settled into a steady rhythm, conducting regular drills and maintaining open lines of communication with residents and the broader public. The experience gained over the preceding months had honed their skills and improved their protocols, making them more efficient and responsive. These teams worked closely with scientists to interpret the latest data, translating complex geological information into actionable insights for the public. The scientific community continued to push the boundaries of knowledge in their quest to understand Yellowstone's behavior. Interdisciplinary teams of geologists, volcanologists, and climatologists collaborated extensively, pooling their expertise and resources. The data collected from the park, ranging from seismic activity to gas emissions, provided invaluable insights into the inner workings of the supervolcano. This research not only enhanced our understanding of Yellowstone, but also contributed to the broader field of volcanology, offering new perspectives on how to monitor and predict volcanic activity worldwide. Amid these efforts, public outreach remained a critical component. Officials and scientists recognized the importance of keeping the community informed and engaged. Regular town hall meetings, webinars, and educational programs were organized to provide updates and answer questions. These sessions helped demystify the science behind the supervolcano and empowered residents with knowledge, reducing fear and fostering a sense of agency. The impact on the local economy was profound, but the resilience of the community shone through. Businesses that had once relied heavily on tourism adapted by diversifying their offerings and finding new ways to attract customers. Local artisans and craftspeople began to market their goods online, reaching a broader audience and generating income despite the drop in tourist visits. Restaurants and cafes shifted to delivery and takeout models, ensuring that they could continue to serve both locals and evacuees. One of the most significant shifts was in the agricultural sector. Farmers and ranchers in the region faced unique challenges due to the potential for ashfall and other eruption-related impacts. To mitigate these risks, they adopted new practices and technologies. Greenhouses and other protective structures were constructed to shield crops, and innovative irrigation systems were implemented to ensure water supply even in adverse conditions. These adaptations not only helped safeguard the local food supply, but also demonstrated the ingenuity and determination of the agricultural community. Educational institutions in the area played a crucial role in maintaining continuity and stability. Schools adapted their curricula to include lessons on volcanology and disaster preparedness, turning the crisis into a powerful learning opportunity. Students engaged in hands-on projects, such as building their own models of the supervolcano and studying its geological features. This approach not only kept education relevant, but also helped students process and understand the situation, reducing anxiety and fostering a sense of curiosity and empowerment. Higher education institutions also stepped up, offering specialized courses and research opportunities related to the ongoing crisis. Universities partnered with local agencies and international research organizations to conduct studies on various aspects of the supervolcano, from its geological history to its potential future impacts. These collaborations provided students and researchers with invaluable real-world experience and contributed to the global body of knowledge on supervolcanic activity. As the months turned into a year, the global community continued to monitor Yellowstone with keen interest. The potential eruption of the supervolcano had captured the world's imagination, sparking discussions about preparedness and resilience in the face of natural disasters. International conferences and symposiums focused on the lessons learned from Yellowstone, bringing together experts from diverse fields to share insights and strategies. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, could you leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on the potential impact of a Yellowstone eruption? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.